So we're getting ready to milk Biddy. She's the only one right now that we milk at night. Missy is, she still has her babies on her. And so they stay with her all day. And so we don't really have anything to milk out at night. So this is a mixture of rolled oats and black oil sunflower seeds and beet pulp. So this is honestly, like, there's no molasses or anything in this, and they love it more than they like the sweet feed, which, I don't know, it's just pretty interesting to me. So we usually do about a half pound of this, about a half pound of the sweet feed. Chickens always think it's for them. And we do a little bit of calf manna, just about a quarter pound. Calf manna is high in protein and it helps with milk production. That was something that I learned from one of my mentors, Kristen, at Levitt Mini Farm. We also grab some alfalfa pellets. We go get Biddy. Biddy knows it's milking time. She wants her grain. Although half the time I let her out of here and she just wants to go eat eucalyptus leaves. Come on, Biddy. Move your behind. Let's go. Come on, Biddy. She's still learning to follow me without a leash. Come on. Let's go. Come on, Biddy. Come on. Good girl. This way. Sometimes they try to stop and eat the chicken food, which isn't good for them. But it seems only fair since the chickens eat their food, right? Good girl. Let's see if she goes up by herself. And no. Sometimes she does and sometimes she doesn't. She doesn't like the barn. She doesn't like the sound of the ducks and the chickens. They freak her out. Good girl. Oh, see, her head's supposed to go in here, but I didn't have it ready for her. Okay, watch out, Biddy. You were a good girl, but let's back you up. We finally got her situated the right way. So this is my homemade milk stand, and as you can see, it's not the sturdiest. It was actually an old workbench that was left here by the previous homeowners, and I did a little bit of research and figured out what I needed and made this little thing here. It's not tight on their neck. I can fit my hands in there. It just keeps their head in because they sometimes decide that they're done when I'm not done yet. So we start off with this brush here, as you can see, because they've been laying down in the dirt all day. And so we'll just brush off their udders. You can see this dust coming off of her. It helps to get any loose debris or hairs off of her before we put the milk pail under her. She's being a good girl. I hear my dogs playing. They sound so vicious. So, and then we grab the goat teat spray, which goats hate water, so they don't like this part, but it has essential oils in it that are good for killing bacteria and such. I've had some people say that the essential oils haven't worked great for them and they've ended up with cases of mastitis. And because we're fairly new to milking, I watch that really closely. I like to stay as natural as possible, but I'm also one that knows that there's a time and place for maybe stronger chemicals and such. But we're getting her all cleaned off. We wipe between her udder and her legs just to get all that dirt off, any debris that might be there. Wipe her belly. You can see the washcloth is dirty, but she's an animal and she lives outside, so that's just how it goes. So I wanted to share these cool things that I copied from Pinterest. So everything that we've done here on the farm has been very budget minded. I mean, I've tried to be budget-minded. My husband might disagree. But for the most part, just like the pallets that I showed you earlier that we're using for fencing off the oleander. Darn flies, driving me nuts. But anyway, this is a very budget-friendly goat feeder idea that I had found on Pinterest. So goats are really picky, and if hay or anything falls on the ground, they won't usually eat it. So this hay feeder doesn't remedy that problem, but so far it hasn't been too bad because our horses will come over and kind of eat some of the alfalfa off of the ground. As you can see, there's some down under there right now. But I got these black tubs at Tractor Supply, and my husband showed me how to use, I think it was a jigsaw, and we cut a hole out of the top and we wired them to the fence. So now all we have to do is just slip the alfalfa in there. I felt like these were a good budget option for feeding the goats. These cattle panels come in handy. You can see that I have chicken wire. So when the babies are really little, they can't get out. So you do have to cut the chicken wire out of the way of the feeders, of course, so they can get to the hay. So I'm sitting out here in the goat pen with my goat repellent because we're trying to teach the babies social distancing. And this one we're trying to wean. This is Windy Darling. And she thinks she's starving to death right now. And she keeps trying to nurse on my elbow and knee pits. It tickles like crazy. Somebody's hungry. The truck is loaded up with pallets. We went to Higley Feed today and bought, for $3 a pallet, we got 14 pallets, and we're going to finish fencing off the oleanders over by the buck pen. So we're slowly getting the property goat-proofed because we want them to be able to go out and eat like the pine needles and stuff, things that we would normally be raking up and throwing away. We want the goats to be able to clean that stuff up for us, and they love to eat it, and it saves us on our feed bill. So that's our project for tomorrow, and we also have flood irrigation in the morning. We have 4 hours of that, so that's kind of fun to share with those of you that aren't familiar with what flood irrigation is. I know coming from the Northwest, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know it existed, so it's kind of a cool thing to see. So we'll show you guys that in the morning.